Okay, we're back in the shop here, and we're going to go ahead and install this. Now, when you order a Category 5 leaf spring, whether it's a standard eye or reverse eye like we're going to install today, you will get the shackle system as well. So all your eyelets, frame bushings, and shackles are included with this particular kit. So let's go ahead and install the frame bushing first, and let us show you how we're going to do that.
Okay, so we're into the car here, and we're going to put this frame bushing in. This is where it goes, and this has to press in. You want to make sure that this is clean inside here, no rust buildup or whatever, because if there's any rust buildup whatsoever, this bushing will not press through. Now we use a little bit of grease. We're going to put some grease in here. Just a little bit to help. We have this cap that goes on, all threaded rod, washer. This bushing is going to come in from the other side. And this is the grease fitting, so the Zerk location. And we want to point that forward like this, okay, so we can get to it when the car is on the ground. The grease gun will come up this way, okay? You don't want it straight down, you'll never get to it. It's got to be pointed forward, okay? Slide this through onto the other side. Cap comes on here. Want to make sure that this hole is pointed where you want, because once you press this in, you're not going to be able to rotate it. And all we're going to do is wrench it and pull it in. What you want to do is this needs to go flush. That bushing, you just press it so it's flush, just like that. If you notice, there's no more blue bushing showing, just flush. Once you get to that point, you're done. Okay, and then we just take the tool out and we're ready to put the shackle kit in. See, there's the bushing. Grease fitting goes right to there. We're all set. Tool comes out, we're ready to do the other side. Let me wipe that off. Okay, see? And see, our grease fitting is going to point right here, so we'll be able to get to it when we want to lubricate, because the shackle is going to hang this direction, like so, when it's on the ground. That way you can get to it with the grease gun without having interference. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and install the Zerk fitting. And don't tighten it down so that it protrudes into the insert. There's a white insert that goes in here. And you do not want that to go into it, because then it will stop the rotation. So make sure, I use my finger there just to make sure that it doesn't come through. It's nice and tight right there. I'm good. All done.
Okay, we've got ahead and we've got the bushing in the frame. Now we're going to come up front here and we're going to put our studs in our 3 locations. You're going to have your 2 short studs here, and then the long stud is going to go here. Now in the kit, we've gone ahead and given you a couple of jam nuts. And if you run into a situation where these things here are a little firm putting these in, you can always put a couple of jam nuts on here, like so. You're going to use 9/16. Jam them together like that. And you can put them in accordingly. Go ahead and tighten them down. Then break the jam nut loose. And then it's in the clip nut. It's already set up, ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and do that in each location. And then we're going to go ahead and put our bracket, this bracket right here, on the front eye of the leaf spring. So let's go ahead and get this done. Okay, we're all set. Now we're going to go ahead and install this bracket onto the front of the leaf. Okay, the next step is we're going to put the bracket onto the front eyelet here. And we're going to use the bottom hole, not the top hole, but the bottom hole on a reverse eye, okay? And we're going to have the head of the bolt to the outside of the car. So it's going to go through like this. So let's go ahead and do that. You're going to torque the bolt to 70 foot-pounds. Okay, we've got the bracket attached, but what I want to take the time to show you is I want to show you this articulation. See how the leaf spring can tilt? I'm tilting the bracket obviously on the leaf, but if the bracket was bolted to the car, this leaf spring would actually allow this to do this, which means the differential can tilt a little bit, which is what we want when it goes over bumps or around turns, because we want to take that twisting action out of the leaf. So you see how that works? Okay? And since we have a bearing in the back of the spring too, that action takes place. If you don't have bearings in both ends, it's not going to work. Okay? Now something else. When you're running this bearing is positively located in the center of the leaf, front and back. So the leaf is not going to go this way at all. It's strictly going to tilt on center line. That's all it's going to do. Nothing's moving laterally, okay? And the double loom bushing in the frame does not allow lateral movement. So with this system, you don't need a Watts link or a Panhard rod or anything. Everything just tilts, okay? Pivots properly. So let's go ahead and install this in the frame. So our next step that we're going to do here after we get that front mount on the leaf is we're going to put the shackle bushings in. So we're going to use our Neo grease, the GR1 grease. We're going to make sure we get quite a bit in there. A little bit on the side of the insert. All right. Going to slide this in. See all the grease. Next thing we're going to do is put our shackle in. But what we got to do is we're going to put there's a thick and a thin thrust washer. The thick one goes away from the zerk fitting, so it's going to go to the outside. We're going to make sure we have some grease on the thrust washer. Okay. We're going to put this up there. You slide this through just a little bit, get it started. There we go. Take that excess grease, put it on this side of the thrust washers, get it on there, and there we go. So the thin thrust washer here goes next to the grease fitting. Okay? Next thing we're going to do is we're going to get the other shackle, and we're going to put this with the leaf spring on it and slide this into position. Now, what I'm going to show you is that these spacers right here, there's one that goes on each side of the bearing. Now we have these installed in the leaf, and sometimes when you take the leaf and we have it held with a tie wrap, yeah, these could come out. So you want to make sure that these get back in, one on each side of the bearing, and I'll show you how that goes. So these spacers, one goes on each side like this, and the shackle, because you had the half go to the outside, now this side's going to go to the inside. And this just goes in here like this, okay? Now we're going to put this entire assembly up into the car. Oops. Line it up like so. And now everything's together. And we're just going to put the nuts on. Now this upper one, you just tighten it down until you have thrust contact, and then 1/8 of a turn. I'll show you how to do that. And this bottom one here, you're going to torque to 70 foot-pounds. Okay, so what we're going to do now is you run this down until there's no air gaps between the shackle, the thrust washer, and the bushing on both sides. So you can kind of tighten it down a little bit, right? But then you're going to back it off. right? Make it loose. It's kind of like setting a wheel bearing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it back down again. Okay? And I feel just right there as it starts to just get snug. Okay, that's the stop point. And then what I'm going to do is 1/8 of a turn, one flat. That's it. That preload is now set on that bushing, no more. Like I say, this one here, torque to 70 foot-pounds. So I want to show you something here on the shackle. We've got the shackle installed, but look at this. See how the leaf spring is allowed to tilt? The shackle's not moving at all? That's allowing the differential to pivot, and that's what we want. That means that spring rate's not getting stiffer. It's still the same rate. We don't have a rising rate. There's no bind going on there. Very important. Same concept on the front. Okay? So for autocross, road racing, this is a hot setup, especially if the car is neutral. Now, if you have a situation where the car has a tendency to understeer in an autocross application, then there's other ways to go after that problem, okay? In fact, there's many ways to solve that solution. But right now we're talking about road racing, high-speed courses, and again, like I say, this is great for autocross. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and position this up here. You've got your studs already in. Slide the bracket up onto the studs. We've got these flange nuts. These are locking nuts. Let's go ahead and put those on. Okay, all set up in the position. All you gotta do is tighten them down. Okay, so we got this pretty much in. We'll still have to torque these. However, let me show you something. Look at this. See this here? I can easily rock that leaf. It could pivot. And that means that the rear suspension will not give you a rising rate. It's not twisting this leaf to increase that spring rate. And that's what we're looking for. Okay, so the final torque on this is going to be 40 to 45 pounds. Okay. Let's go ahead and put the differential onto the leaf. Okay, we've got the differential attached to the leaves. Both leaves are on, of course. But I really want to show you something here now. We've got bearings in here, as you know, and there's no lateral movement. It doesn't go this way. But what it will do is it'll tilt. And that's what the standard system will not do. So let me demonstrate that. I'm going to use a floor jack right here. I want you to look at the differential. I'm just going to pick up one side so you can see what's going on here. Okay, here we go. Okay, you see how it's straight now, right? So I'm only got the floor jack up on one side. Okay, can you see the differential tilting? The other side is staying down, see? That's what that allows us to do. It allows us to tilt without increasing the spring rate. See how that goes? Okay, and nothing moved laterally, it just tilts. And that's the beauty of a CAT-5 bearing system and a reverse eye leaf.